for Purim. And after Purim comes Pesach. Purim and Pesach. So the truth is, look in the book Zmanim, Pnei Halacha Zmanim. It's about the minor festivals. I don't want to call anything minor, but it's not a biblical law. And that's why they're usually called minor, because it's a rabbinic law. And therefore, the laws are much more flexible and more minimal. The Torah's, what are the Torah festivals? The three, right, the 3 foot festivals, as they call it, Shalosh Regalim. And of course, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. But Purim, as you can see here in this book, it's 2 chapters. Chapter 14 is 14, 15, and 16. It's 3 chapters. 14th is about the month of Adar, leading up to Purim. It's not really even about Purim yet, and so that's the period that we're going to enter soon. And then 15th is about Purim, reading Megillah, and 16 is the other mitzvot. That's it. 3 little chapters. It goes from page about 90 pages. About Pesach, it's an entire other volume, which we have to try. It's not. Is it in this? Days of called the volume on Pesach. It's in the library, but that's like 300 pages. That's 3 times the amount. So we're not going to be able to cover all of it. But and the problem is that we don't have classes for 2 weeks before the Pesach, because you're supposed to implement. It takes a while to put it into practice, to clean your house and get ready and buy new types of foods, and there is a tradition actually. I've been learning it in Masechet Brachot. It says that I think it was Rav Papa who said to, or Rava, who said to students who came to study with him from their hometown, they would travel and be all year long. They would be like people go to college. they don't live at home. They have to get some kind of a dorm room or a rent something. He said to them, "I don't want to see any of you in the month of Nisan and the month of Tishrei." Why? Why does he not want to see you in the month of Nisan and in the month of Tishrei? He explains, because in the agricultural society, these are the 2 busiest months of the year. The month of Tishrei is when you're plowing and planting before the rains come. And the month of Nisan is in the spring, when you're harvesting and bringing in all the grains and the crops. And you have to take care of them and threshing and grinding and turn them into something that's usable for you. So those are the 2 heaviest seasons of work. And he said to them, if you don't work in Nisan and Tishrei, those are 2 months out of the 12, right? If you don't work then you're not going to have money the rest of the year, and you won't be able to study the rest of the year. So if you try to push yourself, no, I want to study with my rabbi, especially around the holidays, especially on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Tishrei, Nisan, around Pesach, I want to study with my rabbi. It's no highlight of the Jewish year. He says, no, I don't want you to come.
Study one month ahead, right?
That's right, study before, study after, but not, good morning. Yeah, I hope he's well. The whole week he was out. Rabbi, you're looking at it, no? You're looking for Rabbi. Okay. No. So a whole month, I don't want to see you, because you need to work. If you don't work, you won't have livelihood. If you don't have livelihood, you'll be begging on the street. You won't be able to study. You won't have a mind. You won't have attention. You won't have peace of mind. So he said to them, don't. He basically closed the yeshiva. And believe it or not, it's been 1,500 years. The tradition in yeshivot is, obviously, it went through different stages, but since the creation of the modern day yeshiva, Reb Chaim Volozhin is attributed with reinstituting such a thing where people would travel far away from the homes to be in the big yeshiva. Shalom Aleichem. Gavi. Yeah, he came to a class a couple months ago. Yes. Welcome. Give the man a book and a warm welcome. From Colombia? No, where from? Colombia. Amazing. Great. This is Hananel, and introduce yourself.
Steve.
Amazing.
Gabriel.
Okay, Yofi. Yeah, so we're just learning about getting ready for the upcoming holidays. We said there's Purim and then Pesach. And it's strange that the yeshiva schedule, so when Rabbi Chaim of Volozhin, he created really the modern day yeshiva by having people travel from their local cities to a central yeshiva in all of Lithuania and all of Europe. The best minds went to his yeshiva, and he sent them home before Nisan and Tishrei, following this ancient culture of the agricultural seasons, but also because people have to be at home. They want to be with their families, or they have to travel. It takes a while to travel nowadays. You can get on a plane, and if you have the right visa, you can get on a plane and be somewhere around the world in a few hours. But then it probably took a couple weeks to get there, be at home in time for. So the tradition is as follows: the month of Nisan, out of the 12 months of the year, the entire month of Nisan, there is no classes in most yeshivot, including Machon Meir. So we have a month long. I don't like to call it vacation because you're busy. You're busy preparing for the holiday. And the week after the holiday, there's a little room to justify that, but for some reason they haven't changed it. Some yeshivot, they've changed it. They've cut that month down to really 2.5 weeks, because the holiday itself is 7 days. Day before, day afterwards. Okay, 10 days, but not 30 days.
So Muhammad is taking 1 month off or 2 weeks off?
1 month. 1 month. Yeah, from the 1st of Nisan till the 1st of Iyar. The entire month of Nisan. So what day is Pesach? Of Nisan, what number of Nisan? 15, that's right. All the major holidays are in the 15th, right? The middle of the month when the moon is at its largest, full moon.
It saves energy.
That saves energy, and it makes you happy, and it's easy to party at night when you don't have electricity. Of course, nowadays we not so aware of what the moon is doing. But the 15th of Nisan is Pesach. The 14th is another holiday. We'll learn about it. It's called Pesach. There seem to be 2 holidays, Pesach and Pesach. No, but really, Erev Pesach, usually we call the day before Pesach, Erev Pesach. In this instance, the 14th of Nisan itself is a holiday. What's it called? Pesach. Why are they both called Pesach? Which one is really Pesach?
15.
No, actually. The 14th is really when it should be the holiday of Pesach, because that was the day on which, in the 14th in the afternoon, they would actually bring the Korban, Pesach, the offering that's called the Pesach offering. After that, from the 15th to the 21st, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 15th to the 21st, 7 days, that's actually Chag HaMatzot. Pesach already was on the 14th of Nisan. So there's actually 2 holidays coming. Whatever it is, we're going to get to all those details.
When did the angel of death killed all the firstborn of
the night of the 15th, in between the 14th and the 15th. Yeah, that's when we eat that. So when we have the Seder, that night, yeah. And then they went out on the 15th in the morning, so we celebrate the 15th as the holiday. But it's a strange case that there's actually part of the celebration is already on the 14th in the afternoon. That's the sacrifice, that's called the Passover, the Pesach sacrifice. So what colloquially we call the entire week the holiday of Pesach, even though really maybe it'd be more precise to call it Chag HaMatzot. But I'm getting ahead of myself. 2 weeks before that, 2 weeks before the 14th is the 1st of Nisan. So we have 2 weeks which there's no classes, and people are hopefully using the time to prepare their houses for Pesach. This year comes out to be, what's the date of the Rosh Chodesh Nisan? Is Thursday. Thursday, the 23rd of March. So we're on February 12th. So it's just 2 weeks and another 4 weeks. So it's 6 weeks to go till Rosh Chodesh. So during those 6 weeks, we have to learn the laws of, the 100 pages about Purim and another 300 plus pages about Pesach. We'll do our best. But we're going to be, hopefully, getting through the laws of Purim relatively quickly because we only have the 2 weeks till Rosh Chodesh after Purim. Right? When is Purim? What's the day of Purim? It's also easy to remember. The middle. No. Purim. It's also the middle of the month. When is Purim?
14 of Adar. Okay?
Which is it? The 14th or the 15th? Make up your mind.
It's written here 14 or 15.
It's both. There's 2 dates. It's the only Jewish holiday that has 2 separate dates. Well, there's 2 days, but the date itself, the date we celebrate, we have some people celebrate on the 14th of Adar, and some people celebrate on the 15th of Adar. But anyways, it's about, today, of course, is about a week before Rosh Chodesh Adar. Rosh Chodesh is next Tuesday and Wednesday. So we have basically 3 weeks and 2 days before Purim. Hopefully we'll be finished the laws of Purim way before Purim starts, so that we can get started on the laws of Pesach. Because we only after Purim, if Purim's on the 14th and 15th, how much time do we have left in classes until the break? 14th to 15th of Adar until the 1st of Nisan.
It's 15 days.
15 days, that's it, 2 weeks, that's it. There's only 2 weeks in between Purim and Nisan. Between Purim and Pesach, there's a whole month. But we only have classes for 2 weeks out of them. So we really have to make the most of our time now. It's going to be intensive, learning lots of Hilchot Purim and Hilchot Pesach as much as possible. And Pesach. Baruch, Rofeh Cholim. We're so happy to see you back with us. Don't do this to us again. Tempt us, teasing us. You came last week also, Ravid. 1 day. And last week you came only 1 day. And then you were out. This week, I'm not accepting that.
I was busy with a very important mitzvah.
I'm sure. But I'm glad to see you. I'm glad you're back. In any case, we're just talking about what we're going to be studying now. We're going to start with the laws of Purim. And then before Pesach, not only do we have to study about laws, we have to study about the meaning. What is the most... I have many classes. Every day I teach a number of classes. It's such a privilege to teach Torah. I have one class a year, which I consider to be the most important class of the year. I'm willing to hear suggestions, guesses. What do you think it is?
The most important?
Most important class that I give every year, once a year.
Your birthday.
Nice, good guess. Today actually is my anniversary. So the relationships class is going to be special. Yeah. But no, I'm not. But I like the way you're thinking out of the box. That the answer is out of the box. Believe it or not, it's not a class that I give in the yeshiva.
Class outside.
Yeah.
The tefillin?
Nope. And I'll give you another hint. Each and every one of you, no, each and every one of you should be giving a class just like this one. And it should be your most important time of teaching in the entire year. We have to prepare for that class very well. Which one? Oh, good question. It's in Nisan. It's in Nisan. You're getting warmer. Yeah.
It's Pesach.
Yeah. What part of Pesach?
The Seder.
The Seder Pesach. Seder Pesach. You're supposed to teach your children about the tradition. You're supposed to connect them. It's a mitzvah of the Torah to always teach your children, especially on the night of the Seder. The first night of Pesach, it's the most important class of the whole year. So we have to be prepared. And you each have to teach, even if you don't have children yet. You have to teach your friends. And teach your wife. And she has to teach you. We have to share the story with each other. You have to tell the story of the Exodus from Egypt. Not just a history story. You know what the problem with history? His story. That's right. That's not what we're teaching here. We don't want to tell stories not about ourselves, about anybody else. We want to impart a tradition, to thank Hashem, to be identified, to connect to our Judaism. That's what the Leil HaSeder is all about. In any case, so we have to prepare for Pesach, not only about the laws of chametz and matzah and how to eat the matzah and all. There's a lot of laws, a lot of mitzvot on the Seder night. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll talk about Pesach plenty. First, we have to talk about Purim. But what I was just saying, when we're preparing for Pesach, it's not just about the practical mitzvot. How many cups of wine to drink? It's how to tell a story when you drink the cups of wine. How to give a shiur. How to give over a tradition. How to live your Judaism. And that's why we need to spend more time on Pesach. But before we do that, Purim's at hand. Okay? Purim's coming up soon. Are you ready? Questions, comments so far?
Rabbi,
Yeah.
why is it on two page part? I saw someone. They teach. They drink 4 cups of wine also.
That's a nice custom. It's a custom. This idea to have a seder Tu B'Shvat, sort of like we're going to pattern it after this amazing once a year class that has so many multimedia, pedagogical, educational tools and aids, show and tell, and all those things. Why don't we use them on Tu B'Shvat also? Kabbalists thought it was a good idea. Well, we've got different types of cups of wine, and it's a nice custom, but it's not at all like the biblical commandments. As I said, for most people, what do they do on Tu B'Shvat? Nope.
They just work.
They do nothing.
Not say Tachanun.
They do nothing except for not say Tachanun. Right? I don't know if you were there that day. But that's what most people do. But and they're not doing anything wrong. You don't have to have fruits. You don't have to have a seder. But it's a nice thing. We did one here, and I'm very happy the way it came out in the yeshiva. We had a beautiful seder Tu B'Shvat. We learned so many laws, and we had some delicious fruits. And we learned the song, right? Hope you've been singing it.
I'm drumming.
Drumming. Okay, perfect. Okay, all right. We are a week away from the month of Adar. Page 293.
When is Rosh Chodesh? Next Monday?
Monday? I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, actually. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday. 2 days of Rosh Chodesh.
2 days of Rosh Chodesh.
2 days of Rosh Chodesh. Who remembers the months of the year off by heart? Hananel. Do you know the months of the Hebrew months off by heart? Let's see. Nissan. Yes. Good start. Gabriel, do you know it yet? Oh, yeah, we're here. I taught a song, so let's do the song together, and Gabriel will learn it. You have your pages. Stephen pulled out his page, handy dandy, very good. I gave you out a list. I don't know where. I have more copies of it here somewhere. Maybe I'll have a few more copies. Oh no, I do. Here's a copy. Who else needs? Who doesn't know it off by heart? Who else needs? Actually, give me that one back. Give me that one back. And give him these 2 copies. With that one I made some changes. Although I want to get a better chart. You know it off by heart, so you don't need it, right? Let's start from the top. Nisani al Sivan Tammuz Av Elul Tishrei Cheshvan Kislev Tevet Shvat Adar. Got it? Okay, Ravid, you got it?
Yeah, so.
What month is starting next week? Which number is that in the list of 12? Number 12 out of 12. Oh my gosh. The last month.
Yeah.
The new year must be coming. The new year. When's the new year? Nope.
Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah is the new year. That's just not for another 6 months. 7 months. So why do we say that the 12th month is coming?
Because it's the head of the month, Nissan.
That's right. We have a different count for the years and a different count for what's considered to be the first month.
What is like also in the secular world?
It's like, why?
Because you have the new year. Okay, we say new year January.
January, yeah.
But when you say you go next year to school, do you mean
That's
September?
correct. That's right. In the secular also they have they chose to separate.
And that's the real year, right? When you
So
start at school,
September is really the agricultural cycle. That's Rosh Hashanah. That's the normal time for starting the year. That's why we have Tishrei. That's the real Rosh Hashanah. But we learned there's 4 Rosh Hashanahs. For the months, we start in Nisan. That means we conclude in Adar. Adar is the last month of the 12 months, the way we count them. Okay, so we'll sing it one more time for Gabriel. Tomorrow you're going to know it off by heart, and Hananel also. You're going to know it off by heart? Hananel, you'll know for tomorrow? Nisan, you see it on the page? Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz, Av, Elul, Tishrei, Cheshvan, Kislev, Tevet, Shvat, Adar. Yafeh. Okay? Got it? For tomorrow, off by heart. Singing. You can say it if you don't want to sing it. You're embarrassed to sing? Yeah, what's special about the month of Adar? Turn to page 293 in the book of Pnei Halacha. And please, read silently and take notes on the first 5 pages. And then in a few minutes, we're going to discuss it. Okay? So we're going to have some silent self-study on chapter 14 of Pnei Halacha Zmanim. All about the month of Adar, the 4 parshiot. Try to get to page 299, 6 pages. Okay? Go.
chapter number 10.
Say again? Page 293. 293. Okay, let's discuss a little bit. What is the month of Adar associated with? Joy. Mishenichnas Adar, marbim besimcha. This is the most annoying song that you've ever heard. You know what I'm talking about? That's it. Mishe nichnas is from when, like all words in Hebrew could be divided up into a number of words. So mi is from. She is when. Mishe nichnas comes in. Adar. Adar is the name of the month. Mishe nichnas Adar. Marbim. We multiply. Marbim besimcha. By the way, Michael, I haven't seen your test yet.
Homework.
Yeah,
Yes,
where is it?
Okay.
Okay. Mi she nich nas. That's one word, right? In Hebrew, mi she nich nas, right? From when enters Adar. Marbin, it's an old form of the plural with an N instead of an M. Like nowadays, we usually use the M at the end. Marbin. Be, again, it's a combination. In, with. Simcha. Simcha is what?
Joy.
Simcha. This is an aphorism which is stated in the Talmud that this is the month of Adar is a time for joy. Mishenichnas Adar Marbin. How do you say a lot in Hebrew? Harbe, same word. Marbin, we increase. Marbin be simcha. With joy, in joy, with joy. We increase our joy. Okay? So be happy. Or else. It's hard to give instructions to be happy. But we are taught that our mind has to control our emotions and not the other way around. So, you know the song I'm talking about. It repeats. Rabbi, you know the song I'm talking about, right? It goes like this. Mishe, 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 Nichnas Adar. Again, sing with me. Mishe, 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 Nichnas Adar. Ay, ay, ay. Mishe, Nichnas Adar. Marbin besimcha. Mishe, Nichnas Adar. Marbin besimcha. And then you go the high part. Mishe, 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 Nichnas Adar. Mishe, 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 Nichnas Adar. Mishe, Nichnas Adar. Marbin besimcha. Mishe nichnas Adar. Marbin besimcha. Great. You think you got it. It's a very simple tune. Mishe, 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 Mishe. Just to confuse you, there are additional words. Excuse me for the noise. Same tune. It's easy. Same tune. It's taken from a pasuk in the Megillah. This is taken from the Talmud. and it's written in the Shulchan Aruch. This is the first law about Purim. The laws of Purim begin with the beginning of Adar. When Adar enters, right? This means from when enters Adar, we increase in joy. Okay? I should have done it in different color, but we increase in joy. You have the Hebrew, you got the English. There's other words taken from the Megillah. We sing it to the same tune. It's v'nahafoch hu. Asher yishletu haYehudim hema b'soneihem. A few more words than the original. This is what? 1, 2, 3, 4 words. 4 words in Hebrew. Pretty easy. You can learn it. 4 words in Hebrew. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words in Hebrew. Okay? And it goes like this. Nahafoch, which means to turn it over, to turn it upside down. Nahafoch. You'll see people, we wear costumes on Purim. One of the best costumes I like is when someone dresses up that their feet look like hands, and then they put themselves like legs on top of their shoulders, so it looks like they're walking upside down. Very cool. The nahafoch, because you're supposed to. What happened was the nahafoch, the matter. Who is the matter? The matter. The nahafoch means the matter got turned on its head. The matter was overturned, would be a nice word in English. The matter was overturned, v'nafochu. Asher yishletu, asher yishletu, lishlot, yishletu. Lishlot means to rule, to be victorious. Asher yishletu haYehudim, obviously. What's haYehudim?
The Jews.
The Jews. Hema means them. It's like hem in modern Hebrew. Hema, but the language of the Megillah says Hema. Be in son a hem. They rule. The matter was overturned so that the Jews will reign over their enemies. They'll be victorious over their enemies. So this is what, the enemies wanted to kill us, and instead we were victorious over them. So we sing in the same tune. V'nahafoch, 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 v'nahafoch. It's like mishe, right? Same thing. V'nahafoch, 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 v'nahafoch. Ay, ay, ay. Asher yishletu haYehudim hema b'soneihem. Asher yishletu haYehudim hema b'soneihem. V'nafoch, 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 v'nafochu. V'nafoch, 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 v'nafoch. Asher yishletu ha-Yehudim heima b'soneihem. Asher yishletu ha-Yehudim heima b'soneihem. You all heard a terrible terrorist killed the members of a family on Friday. Once again, 2 weeks after it happened, also in Jerusalem. And our enemies feel that they can be victorious over us. And on Purim, we celebrate and we pray and we try to channel the energy that it can be overturned. The matter can be overturned. V'na'afochu. That the Jewish people should be victorious. Yishlot actually means to rule. That we can rule. That's what's happening here. We're not ruling in our own country. We should rule over our enemies. We have enemies who want to kill us, unfortunately. We try to ignore it, but they remind us. They remind us ever too often. So it's the same tune, and believe it or not, for another day, I'm going to teach you a third sentence, which is sometimes sung to the same tune. That's why I say it's annoying. It's the same tune over and over again. This is the Purim song. All the children learn it, all the adults sing it, and of course, sometimes we switch. We start with Misha Misha Nichnas Adar, and instead of continuing, Marbim B'Simcha, we go to Asher Yishletu HaYehudim Heima B'Soneihem. And especially if you're drunk, you're going to be mixing up the two versions of the song. So we're going to learn both, and there's a third version too for another day, okay? But this is the beginning of the laws of Purim. Nichnas Adar. Is there no more copies of Zmanim? Someone took it to their room and didn't bring them back. We're going to look in the library to see if there's more copies after class. In the meantime, you look on with Israel, okay? It's online, by the way, for free. You know that this is the whole book is in English, is online for free. You can get it. Anyways, Purim, Adar. Adar is a time of joy. And the greatest joy is when what was difficult, what was bad, turns into good. And so the evil decree of Haman that was going to destroy us turned into a redemption. We were saved, as we spoke about the other day. Now, believe it or not, it's good we're starting early. It's not even Rosh Chodesh yet. So it's not only we have to learn the song before next Tuesday and Wednesday, but we also have to be ready because the first practice of this season starts even before Rosh Chodesh. This Shabbat, like last Shabbat, has two names. Last Shabbat was Shabbat B'Shalach, and who remembers, not yesterday, the week before yesterday. And it had the second name. Who remembers what it was? Shabbat B'Shalach? Parasha. Shabbat Shira, that's right. It's known as the Shabbat of song. This coming Shabbat, what's the parasha? Parashat Mishpatim, that's one name. It's Shabbat Parashat Mishpatim. It has another name. What's it called?
Shekalim.
Shabbat Shekalim. You read about it here. It's the first of the season. So even before Adar starts on Tuesday, Wednesday next week, this coming Shabbat before that, even though we're still in the month of Shvat, we start and we read a special portion. There are 4 special portions which our sages instituted during this time of year, between even before Purim, even before Adar and Pesach. What are the names of the 4? Who knows them off by heart?
All the 4?
What are all the 4?
The Parsha?
Special parshot.
Shekalim.
Shekalim is the first one.
Amalek.
Shira is not counted as one of the 4.
Zachor.
Zachor is number 2.
Paraduma.
Para
And
HaChodesh. Very good. There's actually another one that's, we don't read anything special, but it has a special name. It's called Shabbat HaGadol, Shabbat before Pesach.
okay.
Shabbat Zachor is the Shabbat before Purim. We're going to talk about just now. And in between, we have Para and HaChodesh. HaChodesh is the one before Rosh Chodesh Nisan. And Para is stuck in between there. It has something to do with the red heifer, which is used for
Purification.
purification. Why do we need to purify?
After death.
Why do we have to purify now at this time of year?
Coming of Mashiach. I don't know.
Torah was good.
No, that's not for a while.
I don't know.
What do all the Jews have to do on Erev Pesach,
Sugar.
on the 14th of Nisan?
Eat from the now or before in the old times.
Then
Eat from the lamb.
you have to go and bring the offering, the Pesach offering. Every Jew has to come and be in Jerusalem and eat the Pesach offering in Jerusalem. Of course, nowadays we don't anyways, but you have to be pure if you're going to go bring a sacrifice and eat from a sacrifice. So everybody was getting ready and purifying themselves already 2 weeks in advance before the period, so that they could eat their Korban Pesach, their sacrifice of the Pesach. In any case, these are the four Parshas. The first one is Parshat Shekalim. What does that have to do with? What is Shekalim about? Any guesses?
About giving the shekel for the...
Do you have any change? Anybody have any change on them?
No.
You have a few shekels? We use the same term for Jewish money from thousands of years ago. Now they call them NIS. Stands for the new Israeli shekel. Not because there was one 2,000 years ago. So there was one 20 years ago. There was a shekel that was devalued, and so they decided to restart. Sometimes they do that with the currency. When there's inflation, we had a problem like that in our country. Many of you have never even, you don't remember that, but there was, sometimes they called the money lirot at the beginning. There was lirot, then there was shekels, and now there's new shekels. In any case, the new Israeli shekel, there was based on the old shekels of the Mishnaic times. And the Talmud says, the Torah says too, even before Mishnaic times, hundreds of years before the Mishnah, this is a biblical law. Who had to give a half a shekel?
Everyone
In the Torah.
Everyone between 20 and 60.
Yeah, when, where, why?
Once a year.
The counting of the people.
To buy korbanot.
That's right. The Torah first when did they have to buy korbanot for the first time? When did everybody have to give half a shekel?
For the month of Nisan.
No, the first time? For the temple. Which temple?
The Mishkan.
Which first temple? Mishkan. What's the Mishkan?
The mobile.
Where were the Jewish people?
In the Midbar.
They just come out of Egypt. They get the Torah. Then what are they supposed to do with the first mitzvah? Build a Mishkan. To build a Mishkan. They need money. Everybody donated whatever they wanted, whatever gold, silver, whatever wood they had, whatever jewels they needed for the Mishkan. Everybody donated. In addition, everybody had to donate half of a silver coin called a shekel. And from those silver coins, anyways, our sages get into it. Probably Rav Lissman will talk to you about it. There were 3 half shekels that they had to give. One was for counting the Jewish people also. Moshe was told to count the people. We don't count people, right? We count the shekels. Everybody gives half a shekel, so we avoid the problem of counting people. Also, they needed the silver for the housing of each of the beams. Each of the beams in the Mishkan was made out of beams, and each one had a silver casing at the bottom. Adanim, they're called. Anyways, Adanim is what they're called, and I don't want to confuse you. And then the third donation was the gold and silver, whatever you wanted to. So there were 3 donations actually. That's why there's a custom until today to give 3 half shekels, not just 1. And of course now we don't have a temple. But not only that was the first time in history when the Jewish people came out of Egypt and they had to create the temple, and so they had to build it and so forth. So there was 3 after that every year. Every year they had to have donations of half shekels. Donations. A donation that you have to give. Another word for that is tax. Tax. It's a tax. The tax man comes along. When's tax season? March.
March.
Here it's Adar.
Also in Israel.
Adar. Why Adar is tax season? Because there's a rule that what are these taxes used for? The taxes here are used for the korbanot in the Beit HaMikdash. Do you know that everybody who wants to bring a sacrifice can go buy an animal, bring a sacrifice, and give a donation to the temple whenever you want? However, there are also communal sacrifices that the entire Jewish people must bring as a community. Who knows an example of a communal sacrifice?
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur, sure.
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah, there were no sacrifices. Hanukkah was after the biblical period, right?
Shoshana
Rosh Hashanah, there was a communal sacrifice.
and Pesach.
Pesach, yes, the holidays for sure.
The offering is brought in the morning.
Every day, finally. Every day there was a sacrifice, the Korban Tamid. Once in the morning, once in the evening. This was a communal sacrifice. And every Shabbat, there's a Musaf, an additional sacrifice, onto the regular everyday sacrifice. So there were communal sacrifices every single day. Now who has to pay for a communal sacrifice?
Us, we.
The community, of course, it's communal. How do you make it communal? By gathering a half a shekel from every Jew. That means everybody participates. And so when the Kohanim and the bit, nobody, everybody was going to work,
Also,
trying to get to work on time. How could they go up to Jerusalem and bring the sacrifice? The Kohanim did it for us.
Also, children and women need to pay.
No.
Only adults.
Yeah, adult. Women, I'm trying to remember. I think women too. Women over the age of 12. What? Children. Nowadays, of course, we don't practice the command. I'm trying to remember whether the women had to give. I think they did, and the custom was also that the parents give on behalf of the children, although it's not as an obligation. I'll have to look that up. Whether here it is. See. Yeah, they were only in the time of the temple. It was only the men. It's on page 310. You see, speaks about it. Some people say over the age of 13 you have to give, and the custom is that we give for everybody. Nowadays we just give a half a shekel to tzedakah, to any tzedakah, and we give a half a shekel during this time period. But tell me why? Why should we need to get this monies to the temple, this tax for the offerings in Adar? Why now?
Because
The end of the year,
End of the year, so who cares?
you can start.
Yeah, start the new year
New
from?
financial year from Nisan.
Yeah, good. Not so much the financial year, but there is a law that says every year's korbanot, the sacrifices for the Jewish people, have to come from this year's money. Last year's money can't be used for this year. The new year starts in Nisan. And so the month before, you have to gather the new monies for the new sacrifices in Nisan. Not everybody would get their money there in time for the first of Nisan, but as long as it got there eventually, it all added up, it was in the treasury, and they would always take out the coins from that treasury to buy the communal sacrifices on behalf of everybody. But that's the dividing year between year and year. For the korbanot in the temple was the first of Nisan. And that's why the first of Adar, already the rabbis said, we have to declare it's time to prepare your half shekel tax. And we don't do that on Shabbat. Really, Rosh Chodesh is when you start, right? Because there's 1 month left, 30 days in advance, you have to prepare. But not everybody's in shul on Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is on Tuesday, Wednesday. We said, when are most people in shul? On Shabbat. And so they decided we're going to add this extra reading about the mitzvah of giving the shekels. If it comes out to Rosh Chodesh is on Shabbat, on Rosh Chodesh, that's the ideal time. But if it's in the middle of the week, a few days before, we start the Shabbat before. This year, Rosh Chodesh is, the first of Adar is Wednesday. So Rosh Chodesh is Tuesday and Wednesday. So Wednesday is the first of Adar. And so when do we read Parashat Shkalim? The Shabbat beforehand. This coming Shabbat. So it's going to be Shabbat Parashat Mishpatim. And it's also called Shabbat Shekalim. Shkalim is the plural of shekel.
So you have extra long Torah.
That's right, we take out a second Torah. One, we read the regular Parsha, Mishpatim. And the second Torah we read from a special portion that speaks about the original shekel in the desert that we were talking about when they were collecting donations for the building of the temple. And the three different types of donations which they had to give. Now the truth is, it's actually right next to each other. Parashat Shkalim, which we read, is Parashat beginning of Kitisa, which is the very next Parsha. So theoretically, and remember in Corona times, when there's lots of little minyanim, each minyan had only one Sefer Torah, so we used the same Sefer Torah for one, no problem. One was very close to the other. The next Parsha. After Mishpatim comes Kitisa. And so the Parshas are very close to each other. But the tradition is, we take out a separate Torah for each, and it gives more gravitas to the special reading. And that's the Parashat Shekalim. So far, so good? Now, before we continue, you notice that I switched over to the end of the chapter. Go to page 310. There's actually a custom to today, on page 309, it's commemoration of the half a shekel. Not only do we read the parsha about it, but there's a mitzvah to give tzedakah, commemorating that half shekel, and it's usually done before Purim. Of course, that's the time, but also there's another reason. Who paid money to kill the Jewish people? Haman. How much did he pay? It speaks about the Megillah. It says that he was shokel kesef, that he was paying out silver coins. His coins, his silver that he was donating. That's really something that is showing his dedication to kill us. We have to preempt it with our shekels, with our donations. And so the custom is we always try to give our half a shekel before Purim starts. Most people do it the day before Purim. Anybody know what the day before Purim is called? The day before Purim is a special day, which means it's a fast day. It's a fast day. The fast of Esther we commemorate on the 13th of Adar, and on that day, you'll see in every shul there's a big plate in the middle, maybe a few different plates where people can donate their half shekel. The rules are, there's two customs. I'm Ashkenazi. I'm cheap. I give 1/2 of a shekel.
It has to be 3 coins or...
So to be machmir, 3 half shekels. Wait, and then I give 3 half shekels for myself and 3 half shekels for my wife. It's already adding up. And then I have 4 children and 3 daughters-in-law, or 1 son-in-law and 2 daughters-in-law. So that adds another 7. And then I've got 3 grandchildren. By then, I might even have a 4th. We'll see. So if I give a half a shekel, 3 times half a shekel for each, that adds up. That's a lot of half shekels. Still only comes out to be whatever's, 30 shekels. That's not so much. But I try to give that before Purim. Before. This is the donations before Purim. We're going to talk about other donations, other mitzvot of giving to the poor on Purim. But this is the custom to commemorate the half a shekel. This is the Ashkenazi cheap version. Because what is the Sephardic custom? It's on page 309. The value of what the shekel was worth in the times of the Mishnah, or even in the times of the biblical times. the original half a shekel, which is approximately 10 grams of pure silver. 10 grams of pure silver. Anybody want to look it up on their phone, how much a gram of silver is today? Or in 2 weeks, how much it's going to be in 3 weeks? We don't know. But you look it up that day, it usually works out to be
A chicken.
about 60. No, don't get confused. It's nothing to do with chickens. This has to do with the value of silver, not the value of chickens. The chickens we'll get to another day. That's the donations for Purim, for something else. That's you're thinking of Yom Kippur, of Kaparot. Don't think of that. Don't think of that. Don't confuse us. We're talking about the value. How much is a gram of silver today?
71 cents.
71 cents in dollars, right? So half of that is 35 cents. 35 cents, how much is that in shekels? About 1 shekel, right? Times 3.4, about 1 shekel. Does that make sense?
No.
No.
I think
No.
Yeah, no, but you can't give because
That's 1 gram, but we have to go and look for 10 grams. 10 grams.
7.
So it's 10 shekels. 10 shekels. That's the machmir. 10 shekels. The value of the half a shekel is 10 shekels. Everybody should give 10 shekels. 10 shekels for me, 10 shekels for my wife, 10 shekels for if I do it for my kids. My kids are already big, they can do it on their own. Leave them. But when my kids were small, I would do it for them. But now they're big, so I do it. I still do it anyways. I give tzedakah. Anyways, just in case they forget, it's a nice custom to give the tzedakah. It's to commemorate the half a shekel, and we do it anytime in Adar, but traditionally we do it before the reading of the Megillah, so that we can show that our dedication is going to beat out Haman's shekels that he donated.
But in ancient times, before the discovery of the silver mine in South America, the silver could be valued much more than today.
Could be, but we only have to give the custom. It is all customs because there's no actually biblical command now. We have no temples, so when there's a temple, maybe they're going to say the tax is higher. I don't know, but the commemoration is 2 customs. One is when I was in America, I gave half a dollar. When I was in Canada, I gave half a Canadian dollar. When you're the half of the local currency, that's the Ashkenazi custom. And so here it's a shekel, so it's half a shekel. Times 3, whatever, But the Sephardi custom is no, you don't go by what the local dollar is. It says you give half a shekel of the Torah, whatever it was. We approximate that the shekel was about 10 grams of silver. Well, how much is 10 grams of silver today? Half of that, 5 grams of silver. The value of 5 grams of silver, about 10 shekels. Okay, so this is 2 different customs. It's a custom to give a half a shekel. That's Parashat Shkalim and Zecher leMachatzit HaShekel. The Hebrew is Machatzit, half, Machatzit HaShekel. And remember, don't say that you're giving the half a shekel, because then maybe it's only for a korban. Maybe it'll be considered consecrated, and it's going to be holy, and then you're not allowed to use it. So you have to say Zecher if you say anything. Zecher means a commemoration of that half shekel which was given. Okay, back to the 4 parashiyot. Parashat Shkalim, we do this Shabbat. We read a special reading from the Torah, an additional reading from the Torah. That's the first practice of the season. Then we have the other parashiyot we said is Parashat Zachor, we're going to talk about now, Parashat Parah, and Parashat HaChodesh. Parashat Parah, we said, is to commemorate the purity, getting ready to be pure, and HaChodesh is, of course, before the new moon, before the new month of Chodesh Nisan. Let's talk about Parashat Zachor. Parashat Zachor is to remember Amalek. It's a little bit paradoxical. We're supposed to remember Amalek, but we're also supposed to destroy them. Who was Amalek?
Grandson of Esav.
Grandson of Esav. That's the name of the first Amalek. That's right. Esav turned out to be pretty much our nemesis, right? Yaakov was fighting with Esav for quite a while. They sort of made peace at the end, but traditionally our enemies are the other, who are fighting against the chosenness of Yaakov. We call them Esav. And more precisely, We call them Amalek. You know why? Because that one grandson of Esau, a little bit further on in history, he came and he fought against the Jewish people. We just read it in the Parsha. And at the end of Beshalach. What happened at the end of Beshalach?
He attacked the weak ones.
The Amalekites came to attack the Jewish people when they left Egypt. And then, you're absolutely right. Of course, who won? Who won the war?
Yahushua. Bnei Israel.
How did they win the war?
Moshe, the spiritual
Moshe
vessel.
lifted his hands. And the Jewish people got divine aid through Moshe's prayer. And they won, and they beat the Amalekites. Apparently they didn't destroy them. And they come up again in the time of
King Shaul.
King Shaul. Excellent. King Shaul has sent by the prophet Shmuel to go and fight against the Amalekites. He was successful? Yeah, even though he didn't have two hands up, but he was successful. But it wasn't 100%. What did he do, Shaul?
Save the king and save
That's
the...
right. He saved the
animals.
cattle, the animals, and Shmuel is very angry at Shaul because of that. He says, "You're not going to be the king if you don't know how to listen to God. You're not going to be the king forever." King David got chosen over Shaul. Anyways, that's the second time in history, and then the third time in history that Amalek comes and attacks us. When was that? Haman! Make noise whenever you say that word, Haman! Right? We're supposed to blot out Amalek. That's why we make noise whenever we hear his name. Haman! Okay? So that's the third time in history fighting Amalek. One last time. Did we win? We won each time so far, but it wasn't a complete win.
With Haman?
When's the next time? With Haman, we won. With the Jewish people were saved. Haman was hung. His 10 children were hung. But
The last time?
apparently there's still Amalek in the world.
Yeah.
We don't know. But the sages tell us that it's a pasuk in the Torah that says, God swore with his hand on his throne. What an image. God puts his hand on his throne as a holy object, swearing that there's going to be a battle against the Amalekites for all generations, until I will wipe them out. Evil will be eradicated in the world. So you mentioned Hitler. Some people say that maybe he was a spiritual descendant of Amalek. Biologically, those nations are all lost. We don't have any Amalekites by genes, DNA. I don't think we know that anybody's an Amalekite. If you actually knew one, you might have to kill him. So I'm pretty happy that we don't have any of this. But the concept is that until the end of days, until Mashiach comes, until Hashem helps us eradicate pure evil from the world, we still have to fight Amalek and wipe out its name. So here we go. This is the history. And now I talked about the future and maybe even the present. Didn't we say these our enemies are fighting us every day? So we have the past, the present, and the future. What are the 3 mitzvot that are defined as mitzvot from the Torah? We have 3 out of the 613 that mention Amalek. What are we supposed to do about Amalek? Everybody open up to page 298. Stephen, will you please read for us on page 298 from the top of the page?
Yeah. The 3 mitzvot concerning the obliteration of Amalek. 3 mitzvot in the Torah relate to Amalek. The first is positive commandment to remember what Amalek did to us. As the Torah said, remember what Amalek did to you on your journey as you left Egypt in Devarim 25:17. The second is a negative commandment, not to forget what Amalek did to us. As the Torah said, do not forget. Devarim 19. The third is a positive commandment to eradicate Amalek offspring from the world, as the Torah says. Therefore, when the Lord your God grants you safety from all your enemies around you in the land that the Lord your God is giving you as a hereditary portion, you shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under the heaven.
Okay, so 3 mitzvot, right? The third one, it's the hardest and the easiest. Why is it the hardest?
We don't know where they are.
That's one reason why it's hard, because we don't know where the Amalek is. Why is another reason? If we did know where they were, why would it be hard? Because you have to fight. You have to take up a gun and bombs and tanks and missiles. Maybe lie in ambush in the middle of the night to fight against those Amalekites, whoever they're attacking us, if they're Amalekites. But that's why it's hard, because you actually have to do something. It's actually easiest, I guess, nowadays, maybe because we don't really know who they are. And so we can't really do it practically. We don't have, what is the Israeli army called?
It's a defense force.
Right, why isn't it called the Israel Anti-Amalek Forces?
We don't know.
Because we don't know where they are. We won't be able to fight them. We don't know really how to fight them. It's true that whoever fights against us, we're defending against them. Maybe some of them are motivated by pure evil, like Amalek. I don't know. But the point is, we don't really put into practice this third mitzvah to wipe out Amalek, because we don't know who they are. And so it's easiest. You don't have to do anything until maybe someone comes up and he says, look, I have proof. I did DNA testing. I am an Amalekite. And you check it out and say, really? Okay, bye-bye. Boom, boom. Right? We'll kill him. But we don't. We don't have that. We don't have that nowadays. And really, it's a communal mitzvah for the people to wipe out Amalek. And what does the Rambam say? Whose job is it to wipe out Amalek? The king. One of the 3 mitzvot that the Jewish people have when they enter the land is to appoint a king, and the king's supposed to fight against Amalek, like Shaul did. He's appointed king. He went to fight Amalek and to build a Beit HaMikdash. That's the Rambam speaks about the 3 mitzvot of the king. And it's a communal mitzvah. As I said, pretty much nowadays it's other than we sort of do it metaphorically, we don't have Israel anti-Amalek forces. We don't have a definitely not vigilante forces anyways. The first 2 are practical, very, very practical, and they're very, very difficult.
But basically they are the same.
They are the same. You could say it's 2 sides of the same coin. One is a positive mitzvah and one's a negative mitzvah. We find that in the Torah often. The Torah gives its commands to us in 2 ways. A positive command and a negative command. 2 sides of the same coin. It's the same coin. What is it? You have to remember what Amalek did and do not forget what Amalek did. What do we have about Shabbat? You have to remember the Shabbat and you have to observe it. You have to guard the Shabbat. 2 sides. Positive commandments, make Kiddush. Negative commandments, don't do Malacha. Many, many mitzvot in the Torah. We have positive and negative, positive and negative, positive and negative. Here too, remembering Amalek, positive. Not to forget is the negative of that. Let me show you on page 299. At the 5th line from the top of the page, the verse says, hand upon the throne of the Lord. You see where I'm reading? Page 299, it's in the middle of section 4. The hand upon the throne of the Lord will be at war with Amalek throughout the sages. Rashi comments, noting that the verse uses the shortened versions of the 2 words. Kes instead of kisei, and ka instead of the full tetragrammaton. And the sages said as follows, the Holy One, blessed be He, swore that His name and His throne will not be complete. Right? The throne is only kes, not kisei. And His name is only ka, not yud ke vav ke. Until the name of Amalek is utterly blotted out. We have to fight against evil in this world, and that's what remembering Amalek means. How do we fulfill the mitzvah to remember? Well, we can think about it. That'll help us not to forget. But like I said, maybe the mitzvah to remember the Shabbat. What did the sages say? What do you have to do to remember the Shabbat?
Make it holy.
How do you make it holy? What do we have to do? What's the positive mitzvah of sanctifying, of remembering the Shabbat? By saying Kiddush. So we have to say it in words too. So there's a mitzvah to say in words that we remember what Amalek did to us. When do we do that?
In Parashat
Parashat Zachor. Turn to page 301, please. The sages instituted the reading of Parashat Zachor once a year in order to fulfill the Torah commandment to remember and to not forget the evil deeds of Amalek. One is viewed as having forgotten about Amalek only if a year goes by without remembering it. Therefore, we discharge our obligation by mentioning the matter once a year. What period of the year do we do it? We read Parashat Zachor on the Shabbat before Purim. Why? In order to juxtapose remembering Amalek to the destruction of his descendant, Haman. Haman is called Haman Ha'agagi in the Megillah. Agag was that king of Amalek, which Shaul didn't kill at first. And so Agagi sounds like the Megillah is relating Haman to Amalek. So we put the two together. But there's really, you could do it any time of the year, at least once a year. And you could actually do it without reading from the Torah scroll. I'm continuing to read on page 301. According to Torah law, one must express this remembrance verbally. There's no need, however, for every individual to read Parashat Zachor from the Torah scroll. Rather, one fulfills the mitzvah by hearing another person read the verses from the Torah. According to the greatest Rishonim, the Torah commands us to read Parashat Zachor from the Torah scroll itself. Wow. So it sounds like to read the Torah tomorrow, it's a rabbinic mitzvah, right? Every Monday and Thursday. To read the Torah on Shabbat, some people say Moshe Rabbeinu instituted it. But it's not a biblical law. It's a rabbinic law. The community must read the Torah every Shabbat and every Monday and Thursday. Is there any reading of the Torah which is biblically commanded? This. Once a year. To read Parashat Zachor, according to most commentaries, is a biblical command, and therefore we're very, very meticulous, careful. Everybody should listen carefully and read from the best scroll possible, and have in mind that I am fulfilling my mitzvah of remembering what Amalek did to the Jewish people. Okay, quickly. In practice, women are exempt because most people, the Sefer Chinuch connects the mitzvah to remember Amalek to the mitzvah to fight against Amalek. And traditionally, soldiers are men. Soldiers, the strongest, are men. And so women are not soldiers, so they don't have the mitzvah to. But there are other opinions, and in practice, many women make every effort to go to Shabbat, to the synagogue on Shabbat, Zachor, to hear Parashat Zachor. In my shul, and in many, they have a second reading in the afternoon. It's maybe in the morning, children are watching the mothers are watching their children, so that the husbands can go participate in the services. They can't both be there, because then the kids will be making noise. And so they have a second reading later on in the afternoon for a few minutes, before Mincha, after Mincha, maybe a separate time. And they announce, and all the women gather, and someone reads the Torah for them so that they can hear the Parashat Zachor. But if they can't, it's not necessarily a proper obligation for women to hear Parashat Zachor. I like that Rav Melamed does here, page 305, an very interesting section about conversion. Aaron, will you read it for us?
Can Amalekite save himself or convert to Judaism? Even though the Torah commands us to wipe out the descendants of Amalek. If an Amalekite agrees to observe the 7 Noahide laws, he no longer has the status of an Amalekite, and one may not kill him. The 7 Noahide laws are the prohibitions against idolatry, forbidden sexual relations, murder, theft, blasphemy, and eating the limbs of a live animal, and the obligation to set up a court system that will adjudicate all interpersonal disputes justly. Moreover, even if the Amalekites do not volunteer to observe the 7 Noahide laws, we are commanded to offer them peace before waging war against them. That is, we offer them the opportunity to adopt the 7 Noahide laws and to agree to be subservient to and pay tribute to.
Okay, 1 second. I have a question. Do you know if you're an Amalekite?
No.
You don't? Uh-oh.
Palestinians, Iranians.
Maybe I should kill you. Just in case. Chas v'chalek. No. Wait a minute. Do you blaspheme God? That means to curse God. Do you ever curse God? Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, no. Do you accept the God of the Jewish people as your God? Even if you haven't converted yet, yes? Do you steal? No. Hope not. Do you commit adultery? Hope not. Wow. Do you eat the flesh of a living animal? No. Do you worship idols? No. So, you've accepted upon yourself the Noahide laws. 7 Noahide laws. Once you're a Noahide, you're no longer an Amalekite, even if you were born that way. I don't know how I was born. But even if you were born an Amalekite, you're not an Amalekite any longer once you're in this classroom, right? At least you're Noahide, if you're not actually Jewish. So if you're Noahide, there's no mitzvah to kill you. Very interesting, right? Now, what about if an Amalekite wants to go further than that? He doesn't want to just be, phew, I'm no longer an Amalekite. But I said, I want to be Jewish. I want to love the Jewish people. Turn the page. The poskim disagree. Again, it's not really a practical disagreement because nobody can say they're an Amalekite. But the Rambam says an Amalekite can convert on page 306. And the sages even state that the descendants of Haman himself taught Torah in Bnei Brak. That means they converted and became Jewish. Others disagree. There's an opinion in the Mechilta of Rabbi Eliezer who says that we should not accept Amalekite converts. Maybe there was just a mistake. But in any case, that's an interesting academic debate about whether an Amalekite can convert if he wanted to. Anyways, it's interesting to note that there is status given to this idea of accepting the Noahide laws. If you look in the footnote 306, Chazon Ish, Avnei Nezer says, we may grant an Amalekite the status of Ger Toshav. Ger Toshav is already like a Noahide, somebody who's sort of half convert. In any case, they look at the bottom of page 307. He says, it is also possible that Amalekite can divest himself of the status of Amalek by accepting the 7 Noahides laws and then at a later stage convert, suggested by the Chida, Petach Einaim. Okay, the Chida raises this idea that once you accept the 7 Noahide laws, you're no longer an Amalekite. In any case, it's an interesting mind experiment. The idea is, if we have to remember Amalek, my interpretation that we'll speak about at greater length when we get closer to the time is that, what does it mean you have to remember Amalek? Is it about history?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
It happened in this story.
It happened in history, but the Torah doesn't care about history. History, what did we say? His story. That's not important to me.
I was talking.
Yeah, what's our story? Our story is
There are Amalek.
there is evil in the world. That's right.
Generation.
I believe it means that we have to have moral clarity. Today, many times people are saying, "Oh, maybe he's just does bad things because his mother yelled at him when he was a young child." Right? The biggest criminals, we shouldn't punish them because they're victims of hatred, and it's very easy to show compassion, and it's good to show compassion on everybody. But I believe this mitzvah of remembering Amalek teaches us it's not a question of, practical, what we're doing to this particular person or that particular person. But the concept that there is evil in the world, there's good actions and bad actions, and good people that are doing good things, and bad people that are doing bad things. And we, as much as we like to Hollywood nowadays, the good guys wear black and the bad guys wear white, right? It's just, they're always trying to confuse things, right? The concept of the mitzvah to remember Amalek is to remember there's good and there's evil. And we have to fight against evil. Because if you don't identify it, if you don't say there is evil in the world, you're not going to fight against it. Today, it's not about remembering what happened in history. It's instilling into your consciousness, never forget that we have to fight evil. It's our job to take on the evil. Okay? That's it for today. Tomorrow we're going to get into really Purim, the day before Purim, Tanya Esther, and then we're going to start about the laws of the reading of the Megillah. We're moving ahead. It might be a little quick for you, but I want to make sure we have enough time to talk about Pesach as much as possible. So we're going to talk about Purim. The other class already started Purim a week ago. So we're the second group, the group that's in Hebrew, that reads Hebrew texts, the Rav Michel's group. They already started doing the laws of Purim a week ago, but we were finishing up the laws of Kashrut. By the way, anybody who was not here last week, here's the test, quiz, self-study questions I would like you to work on and prepare. I only received one today. I was expecting to receive at least 4, because there are 4 people in the class on Thursday. Who else needs a copy of these? A review questions, we're going to call them, about the laws of Kashrut. Anybody else needs it? You have it? You have it? And if you don't know the answers, tomorrow, before we continue with the laws of Purim...
That's the answer?
No, those are the questions. The answers have to be in your head and on the page by tomorrow. You can ask Stephen for help. He did pretty well. Well, so we'll take a few minutes to take it up tomorrow together, okay? Bezrat Hashem.